What a great crowd, what a beautiful day. Thank you all so much for being a part of this and sharing this with us, or allowing us to share it with you, however that goes. Thank you all very, very much. Gentlemen, caught my heart this morning. I want to level set about this day with you all. We're all fired up about our community, about a new neighbor in RJ Corman, about a bright, shiny red engine, but we need to level set a minute. I met a World War II vet upon my arrival to this area this morning. In 1942, he was couriering the first train going into France. The French citizens held bottles of wine and loaves of bread from the bridges to drop down to the soldiers, and he was a recipient of some of that. And I'm a little disappointed in you all today for not having wine and bread here. I just want to be straight up. But his name is Bob White, and if Bob White didn't do what he did in 1942, none of us would have been here today to enjoy this day. So join me in recognizing Bob White. It is, it's fun to make new friends. Thank you. Here in the United States, in the early part of American railroading, and to some of my friends in the audience, no, I was not there. But in the early days of American railroading, city leaders and entrepreneurs got together. They wanted their town to have access to new markets. They wanted their citizens of their town to have products that were cheaper and more available elsewhere brought in. And it just worked. And it just worked. And at the turn of the century, our economies boomed. They boomed. And that opportunity is still with us today. The efficiency of steel wheels on steel rail gives us opportunity to make new markets. And I'm interested especially in this area for the economic growth. This area flourishes and is strong, yet there's great opportunities for even more, but it's necessary to have a railroad to explore those opportunities. Manufacturing companies do not want to be captive to just trucking. They like competitive rates, and railroads provide that. And I am just really excited about being a part of the railroad and being a part of this area. And I assure you, we will be great neighbors. We will be great neighbors. One of the most frustrating things about this job today is that I no longer get to introduce the founder of our company, Rick Corman. Rick Corman built this company from the earth with a rental backhoe and a rental dump truck, and grew this company into the enterprise that it is today. We lead the nation in all things railroading, and we did that on the foundation he set. We lost Rick a couple of years ago, and now we have to introduce Rick and his character through the way we operate this company. I promise you, over time, you will be very fond of the man Rick Corman, and you will learn him through the work discipline and the love of people that he had. You will learn that through his company. With us today, if Rick were here, Rick would tell me that no one person can bring a railroad and coordinate with the town. And I certainly want to recognize all the people involved in that. I want to introduce our trustees. Our trustees guide the company in Rick's absence. If they'll stand, John Morris, Shauna Bramlett, Sandy Adams, April Collier, and we're missing one trustee, couldn't join us, RJ Corman. But let's give, none of this would happen without them. Thank you. A lot of people are here today, and I want to recognize them quickly. Please hold your applause, and we'll recognize them collectively, and you'll get to hear from some of them. The members of the Interstate Railway Committee, the members of the Economic Incentive Zone, certainly local elected officials of South Carolina. We have state and federal officials with us. We'll hear from some of them. Economic development boards, certainly our customers are here. I met a gentleman from Met Glass. If you'll stay long enough, I'll buy you the greatest lunch ever. We're counting on our customers in this area. Certainly the Horry County Council and City Administrator Chris Eldridge and County Attorney Arrigo Karate. Is Arrigo here? I didn't see Arrigo. Is Arrigo here? I hope to see Arrigo again today. I've enjoyed him very much. I want to introduce what has become a friend of mine. I want you to help me encourage him to be the next governor of South Carolina. I'm working on him, but no one person does it. I need all your all's help. I want him to be the next governor. I've never seen someone care more, work harder for the people of Horry County and the people of South Carolina, and it's in his heart and it's in his words every moment that I'm with him. And I'm proud to introduce Mark Lazarus. Mark.
Well, I don't know how to answer to that. Thank you, Rick. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Loris. Good morning, Horry County. How many kids out there have your whistle in your hand? All right, on the count of three, let's all blow them together. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Now, y'all make sure when you go home, you blow those things hard in your house all night long. Everybody remember the railroad. Golly. Thank y'all so much. Rick, I will tell you, the thought of having wine would be great, but we are in Lower South Carolina, right in the heart of the Bible Belt, and I can tell you, maybe behind the scenes somewhere we'll find some later, but not in the middle of the streets, I can guarantee that. But thank all of you for being here today. This is an exciting time for all of us, and it's one of the spokes in the wheel for economic development that we've been working so hard on, and one of the issues that I stood firm on when I was running for county council, and I'm so privileged and honored that you have put your confidence in me to lead Horry County in these endeavors. This is an exciting time that we found a company that you just heard about, RJ Corman Company. The foundation of RJ Corman Company is very similar, almost exactly like the foundation of the citizens and the people of Loris and Horry County. Most of you here started businesses or work for businesses that the owners started with little to nothing, and they had to build it from the ground up to make it successful and continue to work hard. I always tell people that Horry County is the hardest working bunch of people that you'll ever see in this whole country, and I believe that that comes all the way from Kentucky, from the RJ Corman Company, and the foundation that Rick Corman instilled in his employees and in his children that are here today that serve as trustees for the company, and for Rick, who guides this company. And I think that as the future moves forward, you're going to be very happy that RJ Corman Company is here. The greatest thing about them is not only are they going to be a great asset, a great contributor to our county, but they're going to be your neighbor, and most importantly, they're going to be your friend. And I don't think you could find anything better than that for someone to come in to take on the endeavor and spend the kind of money that they're spending to make this happen. It's an exciting time. He mentioned some of the companies already that are going to be using the railway to start moving goods and services. This is all about jobs. It's all about creating jobs. If we've got local companies today that can utilize this railroad. They can grow and expand because they can save money on transportation services. That means more jobs for their company. That means more jobs for you, for our children, our grandchildren, and great-grandchildren to come. That's what this is all about. I want to especially thank our county council. I've got members of our county council here today, Johnny Vault, Bill Howard, your local councilman, Paul Prince, who worked extremely hard on this endeavor, our administrator, we mentioned our legal counsel, Rigo Karate, who I tell you, he went above and beyond to make sure that all the I's were dotted, the T's were crossed, to make sure that this transaction happened and that we were able to be here today. We've got a tremendous staff in Horry County, all the people that work and are part of this, right down to our maintenance personnel that actually took part in riding the railroad and helping out to show the Corman Company where all the hidden issues were and are, and we continue to work on. But County Council really stepped up and used the foresight to move this thing forward, and I greatly appreciate your efforts and look forward to the success of this, and y'all be able to stand on those successes. It's a great day in Loris, South Carolina. It's a great day in Horry County. We look for much, much more to happen. We also got a tremendous amount of support from our state legislators. In order for us to pull this off and looking for grants that we're going to need, we have two of ours here today that gave us the support that we couldn't have asked for more help from the state of South Carolina and from what they were able to bring. I'm going to introduce them in a minute. Before I do that, I want to thank the Interstate Railroad Committee. Everybody doesn't understand this, but this is really a monumental task. This is something that I don't believe has ever been done. We brought two states together that worked hand in hand. We met right here in Loris about less than every quarter, about every month, trying to make this happen. And to bring two states together and come to a decision together, we need to take this to the White House, I think, because I tell you what, they can't come up with anything. But it was a task, and I want to thank all the people from the state of North Carolina, especially Columbus County, that was part of this. I especially want to thank Dennis Worley from Tabor City and Doug Wendell from the Myrtle Beach, Horry County area. These two guys led and co-chaired the railroad committee, and if it wasn't for them and searching out and finding RJ Corman, it couldn't have been a better fit for us. Thank y'all very much for your hard work and efforts for that. Thank you to the city of Loris, Conway, and then over into Marion, where this railroad will run. We want to thank them for all their efforts, because I can tell you, Mayor, you're going to get some phone calls when this train, both you mayors, when this train starts rolling, because they hadn't seen it in a long time. They're not used to it, but we're looking forward to hearing the real whistle blow on the train. And at this time, I'm going to ask Senator Greg Hembry to come up and say a few words for us. Senator Hembry represents this area of Loris, and he's a great asset to us.
Good morning, and I bring you greetings from the South Carolina Senate. It is a beautiful day here in Loris, and very appropriate that we celebrate this occasion today. Chairman Lazarus did a magnificent job really covering so much of what has gone on to bring us here to this point. There are two things, though, that I want to just highlight that he said that I would like to share with everybody here, because they're important. One is, this is a really big deal. This is a big deal. We are, those of us that are charged with improving the lives of those that we serve, know that there are certain fundamental steps you need to take to accomplish that. You try to get better jobs, you try to get good jobs, you try to get more jobs, and it comes down to economic development and building that economy so we can have a better future for ourselves and our children. And the infrastructure, and particularly a railroad, is a key foundational element in building those kind of jobs and that kind of economy that we want for our citizens, and we're responsible to build for our citizens. So this is a very big deal to add this piece of infrastructure to our local economy. And the second thing, and Chairman Lazarus touched on this, but I cannot stress it enough, is that the value of teamwork. When we live in a time that seems like nobody gets along, it seems like we've got gridlock, that we're paralyzed because we can't seem to come together and make a decision and move forward on something that we just can't get along. We live in that time. That's how a lot of people feel about government, private sector, and different organizations within our community. We came together on this project with local government, Mr. Mayor, county government, Mr. Chairman, state government at Senator Rankin, Representative Fry, I saw him here, federal government, and then another state with North Carolina. So the cooperation, it's easy to take a project literally off the tracks. It's very easy to stop something. It's difficult to make it go, and to get that many different interests and that many players in one room and come to agreement is a tremendous accomplishment, and it's an example not only for us going forward, but to our neighbors. So with that, I just want to share with you that may God bless this project, that God bless Corman, keep the guys safe, make it a successful venture, and may God bless the citizens of South Carolina. Thanks.
Okay, next up is our Senator, Luke Rankin, is going to come say a few words for us. Senator Rankin was an integral part of us helping facilitate this action today, and we really appreciate it, Senator.
Good morning, good morning. What a beautiful day indeed. What a beautiful day. I want to tack to an extremely personal note first, if I may. My middle name is Allsbrook. And those of you who know the name, who recognize the community, hallelujah. Allsbrook was originally Sanford. They changed the name. My great-grandfather was the postmaster. And there's a story about his involvement as the owner of property out that way in Allsbrook, where he did not want to easily grant license or easement to the railroad that was coming through. And long story short on that front, there is a picture of my great-grandfather on a pass that was granted to him for lifetime passage on that train. Mr. Ogden, I don't know if you're going to let me use that same passage. I'm going to, whatever they call, superimpose my screenshot photo on that. I'm going to try that. The other point is this. My grandmother was intended to be married to someone who was going to take her to the Midwest. The story goes that Muzzy, as I affectionately called her and all the grandchildren called her, is to board the train when she meets Wilson Rankin. Wilson Rankin had the beautiful, most beautiful eyes, Harry Wilson Rankin, that introduction stopped my grandmother from boarding that train and moving, and ultimately from having a child named Ogden Allsbrook Rankin. And but for that train, I'm not standing here today. So as we celebrate this, and as we recognize the history that the trains have in our community, in our country, in the fiber of this world that we live in, with the advent of the internet, the advent of brick and mortar going away and buying it by a click, goods still have to move. Goods still have to get places. And we are so excited to hear in Horry County that medium is back. I grew up on the right side of the tracks, and we heard that train coming morning and evening. And whatever side of the tracks you lived on, as long as you had the train in your neighborhood, you knew things were moving. So to this day, to the Ogdens, to the Craig, and to your trustees, and to all folks who have truly come together to make this a beautiful thing, a dream that has finally become a reality, I've invoked the terms of somewhat of an old song, and I'm going to change the words a little bit, get on board instead of children. Get on board, Horry County. Get on board, South Carolina. The Gorman trains are coming. Hallelujah.
Thank you, Senator Rankin. I'd say that we're happy that history worked out the way it did to have you representing us. Thank you for that history lesson for all of us. You know, the last thing I'll say, and I'm going to give it back to Rick, is everybody knows that they're from Kentucky. Their headquarters and home state is Kentucky, and you know, they love horses in Kentucky. Obviously, the Kentucky Derby's there, and the bluegrass and all that kind of stuff. And I've said a saying ever since that happened, is that one of those horses shoed his lucky shoe and it came here to Horry County. We're so privileged to have you here today. Thank you. Rick King.
I want to take just a couple more minutes, and then we'll cut the ribbon. I'm going to ask some people that you have seen and that you haven't seen to come back to the audience. This first guy, he and I met a few years back, and he was sizing me up, and I was sizing him up. Can we operate this railroad in the Carolinas? And the meeting turned out to be a great meeting, and I made a great friend. He and I share the same faith in God. We share the same faith in people, and we've learned to share the same faith in each other. Doug Wendell, join us, please. This would not be had he not been the catalyst of starting this. Thank you very much, Brian. The only reason we're giving Mark a plaque today is when he does become governor, I want our logo in the governor's mansions. Mark Lazarus. Senator Greg Embry, please join us. And Senator Rankin, thank you. I'd like for our trustees. They're going to move over and grab the shears. Mark Lazarus will join them, and we'll cut the ribbon and we'll open this railroad. Let me close with, while they're moving over there, I want to close with, we could not be more humbled than to be a partner of this great community. Just everybody we meet is motivated in their home, and we are anxious to be considered a homebody and a neighbor to you. Thank you so much for this turnout, and please let's move over and see the ribbon cut. Thank you all very, very much.